Alright guys, this video we're still going to graph quadratic functions, but now we're going to take a look at different quadratic equations, and we're going to compare the quadratic equations to this. This is the very first one that we graphed. If you have y equals x squared, and I already have the xy chart, and we've done this before. Actually, this was in a previous video. This origin 0, 0, I'm going to put v. That's the vertex, and if I just scroll over, this is what this graph looks like. Okay, where we have the vertex here, and then we have these 2 points that mirror each other. So again, we have 3 points. Now the thing with this is the y-intercept is the vertex. So we're going to take a look at these graphs, and what we're going to do is we're actually going to take this parabola and we're just going to move the vertex up or down. So the vertex is going to be a y-intercept, meaning the vertex is going to be on this y-axis. Alright, we're going to take a look at 2 examples, and then we'll explain it into more depth and more detail when we get into class. Alright, let's look at the first one. Alright, we have y equals x squared plus 2. Now, basically what this means is this plus 2, what that's going to do is we're going to shift the previous parabola up 2 units. So I'm going to just put this goes up 2 units. So if I made an XY chart, here's what I mean by when we shift it up 2 units. If I put in 0 for x, well, if I put this in here, well, 0 squared 0, and then you add 2, so you get 2. So I'm at 0, 2. And then that's the vertex, and I know that this graph goes up because this is positive x squared. So I can plug in one x value to the left of the vertex and 1 to the right. So if I plug in negative 1 and 1, and if I plug in, let's do this, if I plug in 1, well, 1 squared is 1, and then plus 2 is 3. So 1, 3 is right here. And then negative 1, I'm going to get the same thing, because negative 1 squared is 1, and then plus 2 is 3. So negative 1, 3, we're right here. So there's our parabola right there. And if you look, okay, I'm going to kind of zoom out, you can see this is the same exact curve except it's shifted up 2 units. So we call it vertical translation. So if you took this and shifted it up 2, you get this graph right here. Alright, let's go down to number 3. Alright, let's make this a little bit bigger. Okay, now number 3, first thing we notice is that I have a negative in front of the x squared. So we're going to get a max, or we're going to get a parabola that's upside down. And I'm going to pick the same 3 points, 0, negative 1, and 1. So let's go 0, 1, and negative 1. So if I put in 0 now, well, negative 0 squared is just 0, and then minus 1 gives me negative 1. So this kind of shows you this minus 1 is going to shift this parabola down 1 unit. So it's at 0, negative 1 on the y-axis. Okay, let's see, if I put in 1, well, if I have 1 squared, it's 1, but then you have this negative, and then negative 1 minus this 1 is negative 2. And then if we put negative 1 in, we're going to get the same thing. If I put negative 1 in for x, I'm still going to get negative 2. So if I graph this, 1, negative 2, I go to the right one, down 2, that's 1, negative 2. And then if I graph this, negative 1, negative 2, I go to the left one, down 2. Kind of off a little bit. Alright. Connect it, and this is our parabola right here. Okay. The other thing, keep in mind, there's no x terms. Right? See how there's no x? And there's no x term for number 1. So keep that in mind when we talk about this in class tomorrow. So a little conclusion that we can make. Here's a little conclusion we can make. Kind of the first case. If we have x squared, let's say plus c, then what we can say is the vertex is shifted up c units. So we'll say the vertex is at 0, c. For second case, if we have x squared minus c, then this vertex is going to be at 0, negative c. So here's the main thing. I'll put this in a different color. The second case, we go down c units. The first case, since it's a positive c, we go up c units. Alright, so we can kind of skip the negative b over 2a. I'll show that in the beginning of class how it relates, but these are just easier cases where the vertex is going to be on the y-axis.